In a sleepy rural town nestled between rolling hills, there existed a cornfield that harbored a dark and twisted secret. It was said that this field was cursed by a vengeful spirit, and strange occurrences plagued it for generations. One crisp autumn evening, a group of college friends decided to camp near the eerie cornfield. Armed with tents, a campfire, and an appetite for adventure, they set up their campsite just at the edge of the mysterious field. They laughed and shared stories around the fire, trying to ignore the unsettling rustling of the cornstalks in the distance. As the night deepened, an unnatural fog crept in, enveloping their campsite. A chilling breeze whispered eerie lullabies through the cornfield, and their laughter turned to nervous glances. Then, from within the field, a faint, mournful tune played on a ghostly harmonica. Terrified but curious, they followed the haunting melody into the heart of the cornfield. There, they encountered the spirit of a long-lost farmer, his eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. He spoke of a curse that had befallen his family and the land, a curse he claimed could only be broken with a sacrifice. The friends, desperate to escape the farmer's wrath, fled the cornfield and returned to their campsite. As they packed up their belongings, they heard the ghostly harmonica tune grow louder, and the fog thickened. The farmer's specter materialized before them, demanding the ultimate sacrifice. In a frantic bid to appease the vengeful spirit, they left behind a precious family heirloom on the ground as an offering. With a mournful nod, the farmer's spirit faded into the fog, leaving them shaken but alive. They never spoke of that night again, and the cursed cornfield became a place of dread in their memories. The eerie harmonica tune continued to echo through the field, a haunting reminder of the darkness that lurked within.
Deep in the heart of the Midwest, there was a cornfield that held a sinister reputation. It was said that each year, on the eve of the harvest moon, the cornfield came alive with malevolent spirits. One harvest season, a skeptical journalist named Sarah decided to investigate these eerie claims. Armed with her camera and a notebook, she ventured into the field as the moon cast an eerie glow over the cornstalks. An unnatural chill hung in the air as she pushed deeper into the labyrinth of crops. As the night wore on, strange occurrences unfolded. The corn seemed to whisper secrets, and ghostly apparitions appeared, their eyes hollow and filled with despair. Sarah tried to capture it all on film, but her camera malfunctioned, and her notes turned to gibberish. Suddenly, a ghostly figure emerged from the corn, its face hidden beneath a tattered hood. It beckoned to Sarah, and curiosity overcame her fear. She followed the figure through a hidden passage within the field, which led her to a clearing illuminated by an otherworldly, pulsating light. There, a circle of spectral figures danced in the moonlight, their movements graceful yet haunting. They chanted in a language Sarah couldn't understand, and a sense of dread washed over her. She realized she had stumbled upon a ritual, and the spirits had chosen her as a participant. With sheer determination, Sarah broke from the circle and ran back through the cornfield, her heart pounding. The ghostly figures pursued her, their voices echoing in her ears. Just as she reached the edge of the field, she glanced back and saw the spirits vanish into the night. Sarah never returned to that cursed cornfield, and her photos and notes remained forever tainted by the supernatural. The townsfolk warned against venturing near it during the harvest moon, for the spirits that dwelled within were not to be trifled with. In a quiet coastal town, a lighthouse stood sentinel on the edge of a cliff overlooking the restless sea. The lighthouse keeper, an elderly man named Samuel, had spent decades faithfully tending to the light that guided ships safely through treacherous waters. One stormy night, a ship with tattered sails and a battered hull appeared on the horizon. Samuel knew he had to guide it to safety, despite the raging tempest. As he climbed the lighthouse stairs, he noticed a flickering light in the distance, a signal from the ship, but it seemed to beckon him. When he reached the lantern room, he saw the ship nearing the perilous rocks, its crew desperately signaling for help. Samuel lit the lighthouse lamp and swung it out into the storm, its brilliant beam cutting through the darkness. The ship veered away from danger and headed toward the safety of the harbor. But just as Samuel was about to return to his duties, the flickering light from the ship in the distance grew brighter. He squinted through the rain-smeared window and gasped in horror. It wasn't a ship at all, it was a ghostly, phantom vessel, surrounded by ethereal mist. The ghost ship crashed upon the rocks, and its eerie crew began to climb ashore, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Samuel watched in terror as they approached the lighthouse, their footsteps echoing like a dirge. They spoke in whispers of long-lost souls and the price of saving the living. Samuel realized that the flickering light he had seen was a warning from the spirits of lighthouse keepers past, trying to protect him from their cursed fate. With a heavy heart, Samuel extinguished the lighthouse lamp, plunging the cliff into darkness. The ghostly crew circled him, their faces etched with sadness, and then slowly retreated back to their phantom ship. As the storm raged on, the ghost ship vanished into the night. Samuel had saved his town from the storm, but he knew that the lighthouse now belonged to the restless spirits of the sea, condemned to roam the waters for all eternity. From that night on, the lighthouse remained dark, a silent sentinel over the haunted cliffs, a reminder of the price Samuel had paid to protect his town.
In the heart of a rural town, there stood a sprawling cornfield, ominous under the pale moonlight. Locals whispered about the eerie happenings there. The crops grew impossibly tall and seemed to whisper secrets to each other. One fateful night, a group of adventurous teenagers decided to explore the cornfield. Armed with flashlights and courage, they ventured into the labyrinth of rustling stalks. The air grew cold, and an unsettling silence enveloped them. As they pushed deeper, they stumbled upon an ancient scarecrow, its tattered clothes flapping in the breeze. Its face was a grotesque mask, sewn from rotting burlap and crowned with a rickety top hat. Unnerved, they continued. Suddenly, a strange, ghostly figure emerged from the corn, its pale, gaunt face illuminated by the moon. It beckoned them closer with skeletal fingers, whispering their names. Panic set in, and they fled, the sinister figure following close behind. They reached the edge of the field, breathless and terrified, and looked back one last time. The ghostly figure had vanished, but the scarecrow remained, its top hat now perched atop an empty pole. The teens never spoke of that night again, but the cornfield's legend persisted, as did the unsettling feeling that something malevolent lurked within its endless rows of whispering corn.